Oh, wait, first I have to explain about the covers. Before book talk, this is what my checklist series book covers look like. But then I started seeing everybody's really super fancy bookshelves on book talk. So now the print books look like this. That's right, it's ombre, it's colors, but there's a problem. You see, there's a reader who's an amazing book talker who I know ordered my print books. We were still black because I was just in the process of changing them. I know she ordered all of them because she ordered the last one that I had of one of them in stock in my house. She ordered it signed from my store. I hate that she has the wrong covers. So here's what I'm going to do. And this is why I need you all to keep a secret. I am going to send her a complete set of the new print books with the new covers. So whatever you do, don't tell her because I want it to be a surprise when she opens her mail. Here, book talk, can you keep a secret? Wait, wait, wait. Reader follow party. If you're not already, follow me and I'll follow you back. Then go to the comments and tell us what book you're currently reading. When someone likes your comment, follow them and they'll follow you back.
I was tagged in a challenge to see if I can knock out 100 push-ups a day. Now, that's quite an ask, but I've never been one to shy away from challenges.
Hey, Vincy. How are you, darling? That's that's weird. Oh, fire. Yes. Yay. Yeah, you were cracking me up. It'd only been an hour since you'd had water, and I was like, ah. That's okay. We have well water here where I'm at now, and yours is metered. I understand that, but we have well water, and shithead is the one that's supposed to be paying the bill on that because he's living in his grandfather's camper down there. Well, one day last week I was cleaning up the kitchen and fixing me something to eat or something. I don't remember exactly what I was doing, but I was doing something in the kitchen and um no water. I text Mike because he wasn't far from there, and I was like, there's no water. He goes over and jumps his ass. Doesn't better be paying the power bill because the power bill for the water is also the power for his shop. I mean, for his camper. And yeah, I might have been there for that one because that one would have been a good one. So, yeah, I'm so glad you took a shower. I'm kind of grungy today. I didn't take a shower. I just was too lazy. So, there. So, I'm glad you're home though. I'm so glad you're home. Oh, I wasn't surprised either. I knew what had happened, but I actually thought Big Daddy was paying the bill. Didn't realize he'd left it up to shithead to pay it. That kind of hurt. But hey, I would pay. Well, I wouldn't either. I ain't paying the bill, but I don't have water. The limestone's gotten so bad in the water that, and the well water that, um, my Big Daddy's been thinking about putting a meter out here because we got city water out here. We just never had to. So you missed a good one last night. Last night was really good. This one's looking pretty good tonight, too. So, I will be leaving a week from today, going to Savannah. Just waiting on the time to start. Linger Beaner. Hello, 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 Ollie. How are you? Did you happen to be the author? Or maybe husband of the author? Not really sure what I don't know if it's Allie or Ollie. We are doing just peachy. Just peachy. Okay, so I'm going to call you Renee because my name is Renee and it's easier to remember. Yeah, my name's not really my name, but it's my pen name. My name is Renee. So, do I read this? Is this the little part before? Is this a blurb? It says Jessica, Dakota, and Driston. Do I read those or is that just a blurb? And it's Allie. My sister-in-law's name, Renee's my middle name, but my sister-in-law's name is um, Allison. And when she was about 10, about 10, 12, no, but more like 12, 13 years old, she decided that she was going full-blown Allie. Everybody's going to start calling her Allie. But she couldn't decide how she was going to spell it. And she was going to spell it A-L-I. And I said, well, this was back in the 90s when Desert Storm had just started and everything. I said, well, A-L-I spells Ali. Kind of like Muhammad Ali and others. And she's like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. She says, so I'm going to go with, and she ended up going A-L-L-I-E. So, but I mean, I let her decide. I'm 6 years older than she is, so. My first name is Myrna, M-Y-R-N-A. That was my mom's name. So, okay, that's the blurb. All right. Alicia. Ah. I get it. I get it. But we can't pick our own names. I threatened my mom. This is so slow tonight. I threatened my mom I was going to change my name when she passed, which I didn't do. I haven't done, but I told her I was going to though, because she's Myrna. I'm not Myrna. I was only. I don't mind Renee. I like Renee, but I was going to go either M Renee or Renee M, and then I was going to go back to my maiden name. So, alrighty, enough talk, enough chit chat. Y'all can chit chat while I read. So, chapter 1, and there's my glasses. There they are. I got new glasses, y'all. What do you think? They're readers. Those rings trying to come out. Okay, so Jess. I love that name. If I'd had a daughter, her name was going to be Jessica Ray. All right, Jess. Her eyes were cold and flat as they scanned the dark and smoky room. She sneered at the half-dressed men and women dancing around shiny silver poles. The guys and girls sitting on low slung couches staring slack-jawed at the performers on stage and those dancing in front of them made her stomach turn. Allie, you may not know this, but Nina is a pole dancer on the side. Yeah, she ain't no good, but she does it. Or she wishes she did. Casting her eyes to the left, hey TikTok. Casting her eyes to the left, she could see the entire club that was on the other side of the glass wall. The people there were grinding and drinking and having a grand old time. She couldn't help but sneer at them, despite the fact that type of club was more to her taste than she'd admit. The bass from the music rattled her teeth, and she could just make out the shimmer of the glass rattling from the club. She hated screamers, but 9 times out of 10 she could find her mark here. Evil loved clubs and strip joints. Screamers happened to be both. It was like an all-you-could-eat buffet for them. Hence, why she was here on a Saturday night, scanning the crowd for Ammonite, one of the 7 princes of hell, and his lady love, Darcy Bella. Oh, that sounds like a southern name. Darcy Bella. They had apparently pissed off Ammonite's dad one too many times. She had been sent to suck both of their souls into her sword, a real 2-for-1 deal and rare even for her. She used to only catch the souls that were too evil, even for hell. Now she wasn't so sure that was what she'd been doing. The monks had started sending her on more and more assignments. No way she was buying their song and dance anymore. Hell couldn't be that picky. Her eyes snapped back to the bar she had just skimmed over. For fuck's sake, she ground her teeth as she stomped down on the stairs and weaved her way through the patrons. One brave soul tried to grab her ass. Without breaking stride, she snagged his wrist and twisted. His scream was lost under the music. She flashed a wicked smile at the bartender, who just cocked an eyebrow. He knew her well and wouldn't report her for violence in the club, which was a big no-no according to Marcos, the owner. She had always thought that was a shit rule. Sometimes you had to bust heads right then and there to make a point. You couldn't wait until you took them out back. It lost its luster then. Didn't make quite as big an impact as a surprise head busting. But Marcos was a scary motherfucker. You didn't fuck with him and live to tell the tale. Except for her, Marcos had a soft spot for her, it seemed. Oh, except for her. Marcos had a soft spot for her, it seemed. She could get away with a lot of shit others couldn't. Granted, she had yet to formally meet the man himself. For a lust demon, he sure did like to hide in the shadows to do his dirty work. Then again, didn't they all? She snickered to herself, winding through the patrons crowding the bar expertly. Getting to the bar, she leaned her elbow on it and faced the man who just ruined her night. His smirk set her teeth on edge and boiled her blood. He knew what he had done, and he didn't give a shit. Not that he ever had. There was no way in hell her mark would show if a demigod was within 100 yards, let alone in the same damn building. Princes of hell like to be the top dogs anywhere they went. A Mennonite wouldn't come here if he wasn't sure he was the most powerful thing in the room. With demigods, that answer was always up in the air. It depended on who their godparent was, and unless they told you or you saw their powers, you just never knew what kind of power they had. Most steered clear of them. She wished she had known that before she jumped into bed with said demigod, asswipe, standing in front of her. Dakota, she gritted out between clenched teeth. Good day, JJ. What a pleasant surprise. What brings you to these neck of the woods? Jess refused to acknowledge the shiver that ran down her spine as his pleasant yet smoky Aussie voice rolled over her. Sorry, I'll have to work on my Aussie. Ignoring him for the time being, knowing it would piss him off, she signaled the bartender for a drink and scanned the room again, willing her heart rate back to normal and her girly bits to stop pining over the insufferable man. She couldn't help but study him out of the corner of her eye, though. He had changed very little in the 2 years since she last saw him. That was the night they had rescued one of the mates of her sister from another Mister, Ariana. He was still drop dead gorgeous with full lips, high cheekbones that would make any girl green with envy, and a strong jawline. The hint of a 5 o'clock shadow had her sud- subtly, oh, that just always gets me, subtly checking on for drool and promptly questioning her sanity. He was an arrogant fuck that knew he could make a girl's panty drop with one wink. She was sure of it. Not that she was paying attention to that. She mentally rolled her eyes and gave her brain a mental bitch slap. Get a fucking grip. You don't want him anymore, remember? Been there, fuck that. Besides, he wasn't even that great of a lay. Her inner bitch scoffed at her. You're not fooling anyone, least of all yourself with that horse shit. He was fucking great in bed. Hey, Miss Surly. You didn't go to the music festival, sister? Heard there was like billions of people there. Shut the fuck up, you twat. Jess went back to her silent, sideways perusal of him. His dark blonde hair was shorter than she remembered, with his spiked tips dyed indigo blue. Even she had to admit the color brought out Dakota's eyes. Lightning blue eyes with hints of purple that particularly seared her as he raked his heated gaze over her body, no doubt stripping her naked in his mind. As he took a drink of what she knew would be rum and coke, she couldn't help but watch his Adam's apple bob in his throat. He always had that ruggedly handsome look down cold. His rippling muscles were shown off in a tight black t-shirt. She barely resisted the urge to lick her lips. 150 years, and he still had the power to make her knees weak. The asshole. Her sister would tell her to hit it and quit it. She could, if she could, which was a far cry from how she was before she had gotten married. But Ariana had 6 wonderful men at her disposal, and they had helped her get over her issues. Plus, Ariana actually loved them, while Jessie hated the sight of Dakota. She knew Ariana would tell her to give up a chance. She knew Ariana would tell her to give him a chance since he did sort of help rescue Gray. Now Ariana and her guys were living happily ever after. They all but made up the governing council for the magical people that hid in plain sight from the humans, and just didn't want it any other way. As the all-seeing eye, Ariana was the most logical choice in the lead to lead their world, considering everyone in the supernatural world could call who called her their queen anyways. On top of that, she was the most gentle and kindest soul she had ever met. Unless you pissed her off, Jess shuddered. Even she wouldn't want to get on her bad side. Ariana was also the most powerful person she had ever met and a wonderful mother. Ariana's girls were powerful in their own right. Jess was proud of her nieces. They had come a long way in the past 2 years. As for the twin boys, Jess couldn't wait to see what their powers would be. They should all know any day now. She was looking forward to the hell they would cause their dads. Ariana's guys would look good with a few gray hairs. Jess sighed. She missed her rambunctious nephews like no tomorrow. But she couldn't go back to the house yet. She had been holding off on training Zoe to take over her job as the next soul catcher. The monks had made it clear that she had to start training her as soon as she saw her again, or they would be forced to take Zoe and train her themselves. She would be damned if she was going to let them take Zoe away from her family, never seeing them again like they had done to her. So the best option right now was to just stay away and not see them at all. It wasn't that she didn't want to give up her job. She would love to be able to settle down and retire. The problem was she didn't want her sweet and innocent niece in this world. She didn't want her to become the assassin they trained her to be. Granted, She only went after sick and twisted souls, so she was making the world a better place. But fuck, it took its toll. Jess had seen enough evil shit to last her a lifetime or two. But more so than that, she was afraid of what would happen when Zoe took her first soul. Being half mimic demon, no one knew how the swords would react to her if she had to use her demonic powers. And use them she would. Of that, Jess had no doubts. But the monks would find a way to exploit her powers for the greater good. She sneered at her own thoughts. She wasn't totally buying their bullshit anymore. Something was off. She could feel it in her bones like an ache that wouldn't go away. Oi, JJ, snap out of it. Dakota was snapping his fingers and shouting at her. Jess glared, snarling at him. Don't fucking call me that, D. She decided the night was going to be a loss, which pissed her off. It was all his fault. Turning, Jess started to storm off when Dakota grabbed her arm, forcing her to stop. Wait, we need to talk. His Aussie accent was grating on her nerves now. No, we don't. Jess sent a fissure of smoke of magic to her arm and gave Dakota a good zap. Of course, it didn't faze the insufferable man. He laughed. Really? You have forgotten who my father is. That little zap was nothing more than a mosquito bite to me. Remember, JJ, I am the son of Zeus. How could I forget when you're constantly reminding me? She sneered, craning her neck to look him in the eyes. Even with 4-inch heels on, he still towered over her 5'4" frame. Fucking tall asswipe. Don't you forget, you're just a demigod. Your sweet ass can still die. As if you or any of my family would ever let me forget it. But I'm far more powerful than I was last time we were together, so don't count me out just yet, sweetheart. He smirked, then grinned widely. You think I have a sweet ass? You think I have a sweet ass? Jess could practically feel the steam pouring out of her ears. He dared to bring up their past like it was nothing, like it meant nothing to him at all. Who the fuck does he think he is? Before she could rip him a new one, a deep and sexy voice cut easily through all the noise. Are you okay, miss? Is this man bothering you? Looking behind her, Jess caught her breath on a gasp. He was stunning, even more so than Dakota. His straight black brows were pulled down into a frown over the most beautiful amethyst eyes she had ever seen. Flashing cheekbones, full lips she wanted to bite. The best looking hair she had ever seen on a man. There's a guy, I think he's on TikTok. He's got, and I want to say his name, something Joseph or Joseph something. And he sounds like this dude you're doing. Okay. As far as she could tell, the curtain had to match the drapes. She snickered. She loved using that saying on men. I'm sorry, what was the question? Jess's brain had completely turned to mush. Looking at him now, she had to crane her neck way back to look into his eyes. Then again, she had to do that with just about everyone. But this was on a whole other level. How fucking tall are you? Yes. Joseph James. The dude, is he off Vampire Diaries, I think? I've not watched it, so I don't know. But I think I saw that. God, I was watching him today. Ooh. Yeah, I could see that. Uh, his chuckle slid down her spine like warm melted chocolate. She damn near started purring. I'm 6'4". Why? Damn, that's tall, she muttered, not taking her eyes off the sinfully gorgeous man. Not really, JJ. Most men are 6 feet, Dakota butted in. Shut up, Dakota. No one asked you. Besides, when you're 5'4", everyone is tall. But over 6 feet is like a damn mountain. One I want to climb. The stranger's eyes lit up with humor, and Jess realized she had said that last part out loud. She blushed and stuttered, and apparently I've got a piece of it too. I mean, no, he's not bothering me. He was just leaving. Weren't you, Dakota? She elbowed Dakota as hard as she could, making him loosen his grip enough for her to slip out of it. The stranger raised his eyebrows at her and looked around. Mentally bitch slapping her brain again, she tried to cover up her slip with a wink. Don't report me to the owner, okay? He's a hard-ass stickler for no violence in his club. Dakota choked and glanced between them. Jess? She didn't even bother to glance at him. Shut the fuck up, D. Again, no one asked you, and when I want you to speak, I'll fucking ask you to. The man bowed formally to her, which she found both charming and weird. Your secret is safe with me. Cool. Thanks. Listen, I gotta run. I have a thing I need to go do. A very important thing. A thing? Really, JJ? That's the best you can come up with? Flashing a grin at the stranger, she silently waved her hands in a swirling pattern, ignoring Dakota. What are you doing? She could hear the suspicion lacing Dakota's voice. Don't worry about it, Dee. Jess smiled sweetly at Dakota as she finished with her hands. Dakota frowned and opened his mouth to reply. Ribbit. His eyes widened as he looked at Jess. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. Every time he tried to talk, he would get more frustrated and yelled louder. Soon he was shaking his finger in her face. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit! His face turned a lovely shade of red as the patrons closest to them heard him and started laughing. Jess smirked at the handsome stranger. See, no violence. I forgot how much fun the subtle shit could be. Got a jet. Have a good night. The man started laughing. It was a deep, rich sound. Soon as he doubled over, clutching his chest, hanging onto Dakota, he was still trying to yell at her as she made her way to the exit. Jess was tired and ready to call it a night. Hunting a demon and vampire was easier in the daytime anyways. Decided she would go home, take a bath, relax, and regroup. Thank you, Miss Shirley. She stepped into the cool night and took a deep breath of the Chicago air. Dakota, you're precious, Miss Shirley. Dakota. He couldn't fucking believe she had put a hex on him and left. If she didn't put a time limit on it, then he would be stuck like this. Either A, he could find someone to reverse it, of which there weren't many, or B, until Jess did it herself, which he had a feeling wasn't going to be anytime soon. Damn it, what the fuck has she gotten to be so fucking pissy about? I'm the one who was kidnapped, collared, and tortured for 150 years. I'm the one she just left there to rot. Apparently her claims of love had been just that, claims. Dakota was fuming. The man holding on to him with a death grip, laughing his ass off, wasn't helping at all. Who the fuck is this guy anyways? Dakota had seen him around and was pretty sure he was Marco's second in command. He tried to shake the man off, only to have him grip even tighter as he continued to laugh. He's insane. Dakota knew the moment Jess left the club, he could feel her slip farther away from him again. It was as frustrating now as it had been for the last 152 years, 3 months, and 5 days. But who's counting? No matter how many years apart they spent, he always knew Jess was there. They were true soulmates. While in captivity for the first 60 years or so, he would torture himself by feeling where she was. He always knew the general direction and distance away that Jess was. Feeling her getting closer, only to move farther away, nearly drove him insane when he was with Rowena. He had to shut it down. But opening that connection back up was like riding a bike. He had to open it again as soon as he was free. He had been silently following close behind her for the last 2 years. It wasn't stalking so much as protecting, though she had proved time and time again that she didn't need protecting. He hated that she didn't need or want him. Growling, he turned to look at the guy still holding on to him. He was no longer laughing. Instead, his eyes were flashing dangerously. Dakota felt a flicker of fear as power rolled off him in waves. The man wasn't as he portrayed to be. He winced as the man gripped him tighter and started to drag him to the back of the club. The man's long strides eating up the ground quickly, no one even bothered to look up. If it wasn't for the no violence rule that was strictly enforced, he would zap this guy into oblivion. The guy barked a humorous laugh. Ha, don't count on it, demigod. Dakota startled and dug in his heels by the guy, but the guy dragged him along like he was a sack of potatoes. Continuing over his shoulder, yes, I know who you are. What I want to know is what your interest is with my little demon. Ribbit? Dakota let out a huff of air. Fucking hex, fucking woman. He had been trying to ask the woman what the fuck he meant by demon. Ask the man what the fuck he meant by demon. He hadn't been talking to any demons tonight. You call her JJ. The man answered his unspoken question dryly. Ribbit? Ribbit? Oh, for fuck's sake, this is getting old fast. Wouldn't you agree? Nodding his head, he started to speak in his head. When the man held up his hand, silencing him, dragging him into an office, the man released his arm and went to sit behind a huge mahogany desk. Pressing the intercom button, the man spoke quickly and curtly. Rachel, please send Caro in to see me. Did I say those names right? They're spelled a little different, so I wasn't sure. Right away, Mr. Cage, sir. Dakota's eyes widened and his heart rate sped up. Oh, shit. He's Marcos Cage, so he's not second in command. Marcos smirked at him. Oh, shit, indeed. Now, Mr. Derricks, as soon as Caro releases you from the hex, you're going to tell me everything I want to know. Is that clear? Dakota quickly got over his initial shock and glared at Marcos, sinking into a chair. Who the hell did this fucking demon think he was dealing with? Dakota was a demigod, the son of Zeus for that matter. He wasn't a pushover like some of the others Marcos was used to dealing with. Pulling himself up to his full height, he puffed out his chest, trying to appear bigger. Shaking his head no, Dakota let his magic flow through him and gathered the lightning in his hands. Watching as it crackled and lashed out, he slowly lifted his eyes to Marcos, a slow, evil smile crossing his face. Put that away before you burn something. Dakota's eyes widened a fraction. The man had balls, that was for sure, but demons were afraid as soon as they saw his lightning. Was that supposed to scare me? Marcos threw back his head and let out a deep belly laugh as the door behind him opened. Dakota let the lightning fizzle out as a sweet voice from behind him. Well, it certainly is nice to hear you laugh. I hadn't heard you laugh like that in ages. Dakota frowned as a stunningly beautiful woman walked around him to sit on Marcos's lap. She had long, flowing blonde hair, big blue eyes, fuckable red lips, and a voice like velvet. She showcased all of her 5'8" worth of curves in a green silk dress that left little to the imagination. He had to hand it to her. She knew how to flaunt what her mama gave her, but it came off as desperate. It was like she was screaming, look at me, to everyone in the room. He much preferred a petite woman in leather with kick ass boots, long, wavy, honey brown hair, and a voice like smoke. A woman with grit and attitude for days. A woman that had curves that didn't feel the need to flaunt them, unless it suited her purposes. Dakota's hands flexed as his mind conjured the last time they were together. Her hair was even longer then, reaching her delectable ass, and she was less harsh, softer somehow. Even being a trained assassin, she had retained some innocence. Hell, he had been her first. He smiled a little, remembering how she had looked. Her hair had been chestnut brown back then. It spread across his pillow like a dark waterfall. The soft smile on her face as he caressed her sensitive skin. Her breasts, the perfect fit for his large hands, were rising and falling with her rapid breaths, the soft gasp as he made as he thrust into her, quickly changing into a long, low moan as her legs wrapped around his waist. Just so you know, I am doing this live on TikTok, and people are coming and going. But if this gets too graphic, TikTok will cancel it. So I just thought I'd let you know. So if you go back in there and share it or whatever, then you'll know what happened. Okay, knock that shit off. You know damn well I can read your mind. Now you're just being a jackass. For hell's sake, sit down. River. Dakota gestured to Caro, then pointed back at himself, silently telling her to get a move on. I don't work for you. I'm not doing anything unless Marcos tells me to. Caro tilted her. Is it Caro or Caro? Caro tilted her nose in the air, her tone petulant, and he detected a hint of a southern accent. Well, on YouTube, I can get as graphic as I want, but TikTok's already banned me against one, so they just took it down. That's all. Dakota wouldn't hit a woman under any circumstance, but she was testing his patience. Glaring at Marcos, he sank into one of the plush chairs on the other side of Marcos' desk and kept his thoughts silent. He knew this was a power struggle between him and the lust demon. If he wanted to get this damn hex off of him, then he had to play nice with him. But it grated on his damn nerves. Marcos smirked, knowing he had the upper hand. He nodded his head. Cairo. Okay. Like Cairo syrup. Marcus smirked, knowing he had the upper hand as he nodded his head. Cairo, be a darling and see if you can reverse the hex put on him, please. With pleasure, lover. She purred, rubbing a hand down his chest, and Dakota gagged a little. Yup, definitely desperate. It shouldn't be too hard. I can feel the magic that did this. It's weak. Either she wasn't trying very hard or she's a pathetic witch. Cairo flinched as Marcos roared, tossing her off his lap. Oh, and I did that all in the wrong voice. Is it coming up tonight? Please say yes, please say yes, please say yes. With pleasure, lover. It shouldn't be too hard. I can feel the magic that did this. It's weak. Either she wasn't trying very hard, or she's a pathetic witch. Cairo flinched as Marcos roared, tossing her off his lap. She is a soul catcher. Dakota smirked as Marcos got himself together. So he wasn't as calm and put together as he pretended to be. Marcos flashed him a warning look before turning back to Cairo. She's more powerful than you could ever dream of being, Cairo. If the hex is weak, she purposely didn't make it very strong. You would do well to keep your opinions of her to yourself, lest you find your pert ass out on the streets again, whoring yourself and your magic just to get a warm meal in your belly. Or has it been so long now that you've forgotten? His amethyst eyes flashed dangerously. Dakota had to hand it to Cairo. She recovered quickly, covering up her flash of fear. She smoothed her hands down her dress and flipped her hair over her shoulders. However, her hands were still shaking slightly as she waved them around. It's done. Anything else I can do for you, Master? He had to suppress his gag reflex as she gave Marcos a simpering smile and big doe eyes. Marcos waved his hand at the missile. That will be all. Leave us now. Are you sure? Her voice was quiet and questioning. Cairo, do not make me tell you twice. You know what will happen if you make me repeat myself. His voice was low and menacing. Dakota rolled his eyes. It was like he was trying to be Mr. Gray. She whimpered softly and backed out of the office, bowing, shutting the door behind her. Dakota shook his head, staring after her. She was either stupid to keep pushing the demon or really that desperate. Looking back at the demon in question, he raised his eyebrows and looked him over. He was guessing the latter. Intense purple eyes regarded him as well. But Dakota didn't give a shit what the demon thought when he looked at him. Marcos sighed and ran his hand through his long jet black hair. Getting up from behind the desk, he shrugged out of his dark blue blazer, throwing the jacket on the couch that was off to the right, rolling the sleeves part way up as he went to the liquor cabinet off to the left. Would you care for a glass? No. Oh, that's the wrong voice. No, I only drink with friends. Marco shrugged. Fair enough. Dakota watched carefully as he prowled back to his desk and sat down once again. What was the demon's angle in all this? What did Marcos want with Jess? She may hate his guts right now, but he was bound and determined to win her back. Ariana had told him a lot after they rescued him from the bitch, Rowena. He had forgiven Jess for the most part, but it still stung that she never came back to look for him. Did she even care that he had disappeared? Maybe he was the stupid one for pursuing her still. You can say that again, demigod. As for my intentions with her, it's simple. I want her, and I will have her. His tone was casual, and as he swirled the amber liquid in his glass, but his eyes were intense. Dakota threw back his head and laughed. You obviously don't know JJ very well if you think it will be that simple. Marcos gave him a chilling smile. I have my methods, not to worry. Now, as for your involvement in her life, I suggest you desist and leave immediately. It's obvious she doesn't want anything to do with you. Dakota got up from his chair and glared daggers at Marcos. Get stuffed. I don't give a damn what you want, wanker. I'm her soulmate. We're tethered together, so there is no stopping and leaving her be. It was hard enough when I was kidnapped and held for 150 years by the psychotic cunt Rowena. I am not letting her go. He ground his teeth together, pissed he had said that much to the fucking lust demon. Dakota turned and slammed his way out of the office. Dakota turned and slammed his way out of the office. He didn't stop to take a breath until he was outside the club. Taking a deep breath while straddling his baby, he fired up the midnight blue 2015 vintage Harley Davidson Sportster. Wait a minute, 2015 vintage? What year did all this take place, sister? Closing his eyes, he felt for Jess. The connection was faint, like always. She was still suppressing their link, but he could feel her inner turmoil still, and her frustration at losing her mark. Her mark. His eyes flew open. That's it. Dakota smiled. Thank you, Granny. Granny Gertie's back on here tonight, y'all. Hey, darling, it's another. There's supposed to be an MM scene in here. I don't know if I'll get it read tonight, but maybe I won't get thrown off here tonight. Once there, he would make her fall in love with him all over again. No woman could resist a demigod's charm when they chose to use it. As the city sped past him, he chuckled and the wind snatched his words away like a lover stealing a kiss. Let the games begin. Chapter 2, Jess. Jess slammed into her apartment in the heart of Chicago, practically vibrating with fury, and growled. How dare he show up? That rotten asshole. Hey, Miss Shirley, this is in your neck of the woods, sister. I swear when I get my hands on him, I'm going to wring his fucking neck. Rough day at the office. Ariana's sweet voice flowed over to her from the couch. Jess growled again, stalking past her sister and Roman, one of Ariana's mates, to her bathroom. She didn't want to deal with them at the moment. She had enough on her plate. Stripping, she got into the shower and washed away the grime of the road and a few lesser demons she had found on her way home. They weren't on her list, but the monks didn't need to know that. Plus, it helped her blow off some steam, and she didn't have to go looking for a partner. It was either a good, hard fight to get her aggression out, or long, hard, and dirty sex. She wasn't in the mood for sex, but a good, hard fight, that she was always in the mood for. If you hear me trying to I'm trying not to use trigger words that's going to cause this to kick me off over here. She wasn't in the mood for it, but a good hard fight, yeah, that she was always in the mood for. The monks were always telling her she had anger issues. Nina, this might be you, sister, because we know you have anger issues. Did anyone tell you, Allie, that Nina is Ori? Whatever. What the hell do they know? She mumbled, drying off and getting dressed in flannel pajama pants that had little coffee cups all over them, and a tank top with the words, "Not a morning person," scrawled across it. She may love her leather, but this was her comfort place, the one place she could be herself. Do you ever wear normal clothes, lass? I only ever see you in leather, fight gear, or jams. Jess shook her head at the Scottish giant sprawled across her couch, his hand playing gently with Ariana's hair. Ro, be glad I'm making an effort to wear clothes at all, she laughed as he winced and shook his head. Jess turned to go into her tiny kitchen to make something to eat, but Dakota's face flashed across her mind as he tugged on the invisible tether they had. She hated that tether and had closed off the link centuries ago. Or so she thought. Seeing him again 2 years ago had unlocked something, and now she couldn't quite close and lock the box it had been in before. The damn thing kept popping open, telling her where he was and what he was feeling, and sometimes, if she concentrated hard enough, his thoughts. Not that she did that. Not anymore. Abruptly turning back around, her appetite gone, she flopped down onto her lazy boy recliner she had gotten at the thrift store. The monks paid her well from the jobs they assigned her to, but she preferred to save most of her earnings for retirement. After 200 years as the soul catcher, she had more money than King Midas. However, the key to staying rich was acting like you weren't. Jess, what's wrong? She could hear the concern in Ariana's voice, but couldn't bring herself to reassure her. Why are you guys here? She sighed wearily, the exhausting day catching up to her. She had been all over the city, tracking down the bottom feeders that would know where Ammonite and Darcy Bella wouldn't be tonight. All of that effort and work wasted because Dakota had to go and show his fucking face in the club. Jess growled again and called on her magic, creating a little ball of green energy. She flipped it between her hands. Jess, we're worried about you. You hardly come home anymore. The girls miss you. And the boys are wondering where their Auntie J is. I'm sorry, but I can't go home just yet. If I do, I would have to start training Zoe. The monks have made it clear that I need to start soon, or they will take over, and I can't have that. I can hold them off a little longer by telling them I haven't even been to the house to see her, that I've been too busy with the assignments they give me. However, after this job, I'm going to have to make my home base there and train her when I'm not on assignment. We understand that and are grateful that you have done everything you can to protect her, but we still miss you, my friend, and I needed to see that you were okay. Jess smiled her first genuine smile of the night at Ariana. You'll never guess who I ran into tonight. Roman, Ariana's dark mage mate, flashed a wicked smile. Dakota Derricks, Jess scowled. How the hell did you know that? Her gaze jumped to Ariana. Damn all-seeing eye. You looked, didn't you? Roman shook his head and shrugged. We've kept in touch since he helped Gray with Roe. Oh. We kept in touch since he helped Gray with Roe. She who will not be named. I like him. Even if he's an Aussie, he's not so bad, lass. Like hell he isn't. She jumped up and started to pace. Don't tell me you told him where I was going to be tonight. When Ariana astro projected earlier to see what I was doing, I never thought you would use it against me. Hey, lass, I told him. He was genuinely concerned about you when he heard where you were going, and I agreed with him. Marcos isn't someone you want to trifle with. Jess threw her hands up in the air and stopped, pacing to glare at Roman. I wasn't trifling with Marcos, bro. I was there on a job. Now, thanks to that asshat Dakota, my night was a bust. No prince of hell is going to go within 100 miles of a fucking demigod. Not unless he has the balls to think he's stronger than him, which he hasn't yet. Ariana stood up from the couch. Wait just a damn minute. You're after a prince of hell? Don't tell me it's a Mononite. Okay, I won't tell you. Jess rocked back on her heels, her hands on her waist. Fuck, Jess, he's the worst of the princes. Even I would be cautious going up against him. The council has been debating for weeks on what to do with him without causing a war. At least the others are somewhat tame compared to him. And don't even get me started on his lady love, Darcy Bella. I can't tell if she made him worse or if he corrupted her further. They have been a thorn in the council's side for years now. It pisses me off that he's always one step ahead of us and goes back to hell when things become dicey for him. Hell is the one area I have no control over. Whenever he goes there, I can't send anyone after him until... Which is why the monks are sending me. Jessie interrupted Ari with a wave of her hand. Apparently, he's pissed off Daddy one too many times. Hell is close to him. Ammonite and Darcy are to become the newest members of my swords. 2 for 1 deal. She shrugged and crossed her arms, tapping her foot. Shite. You're going after both at once? Alone? Roman's eyes were wide. And yes, my Scottish is bad too. If Roman, the most powerful... Let's see. Jess fought off the shivers his look caused. If Roman, the most powerful dark mage in existence, was afraid of them together, then she would be smart to be at the very least cautious. Yes, why? What have you heard? Nope, not telling you, lass. We can handle it. Ye just tell the monks we've had this covered. Now I'm glad we. Roman abruptly closed his mouth into a hard, thin line. Jess narrowed her eyes on him. His accent only got thicker the more worried he became over something. I'm not stepping aside, Rose, so unbunch your panties and give me the information. I need to catch these two. And what do you mean you have this covered? You need help, Jay. You cannot do this by yourself. Let us help, or at least let our God help ye. Roman roared, standing up from his seat. His eyes were wild, and he was breathing heavily. Jess had never seen him like this. She knew they were bad, but maybe she didn't know the half of it. Whenever the monks gave her an assignment, all she got was names and possible locations where they could be found. It was up to her after that to track them down and uncover their crimes. Sometimes she didn't bother if it looked like it was going to be an easy Sometimes she didn't bother. If it looked like it was going to be an easy takedown, she got a lock on their location and she would take care of business. Easy peasy. She had an uneasy feeling in the pit of her stomach telling her she needed more information. She had to dig deeper into both of their lives. Wait, what did he mean there, guy? Jess opened her mouth to reply, but a knock at her door interrupted her. Before she could turn toward the door, it opened and Dakota strode in like he owned the place. Growling, Jess jumped into action, grabbing one of the many knives she had stashed all over her apartment and flung a green orb in his direction to distract him. In a matter of seconds, she had him pinned to the wall, knife at his throat. She ignored the little flicker of unease she felt. It had been too easy to pin him. She shouldn't have been able to do that. She growled. How the fuck did you find me, and what the fuck are you doing here? He didn't even have the good graces to look slightly worried, which pissed her off more. Pressing her knife harder against his throat, enough to draw blood, satisfaction coursed through her when a sliver of fear showed in his eyes. Finally, she was getting the reaction she wanted from him. Never mind the fact that she could never seriously harm him, but he didn't need to know that. Besides, there were other ways to make him pay, like shrinking his balls for a day or two. Jess, please be a dear. Oh, Jess, please be a dear and let Mr. Derricks go. Ariana placed her hand softly on Jess's shoulder. She could feel a hint of the power Ariana pushed against her to stay her hand. Jess seriously considered shrugging her off. She obviously knew Dean more than just the night they rescued him in Gray. Instead, she settled for snapping. Just keep in touch, huh? Just kept in touch, huh? How well do you know him, Ari? And why the fuck is he at my house? You know how I feel about visitors. I don't know how or why he's here in your apartment. Her friend sent a withering glare at him. He just smirked. I told him to let us tell you first. An hour ago, the council hired him to get rid of our problem. I was trying to tell you that we had come to an agreement on what to do. Jess was so shocked, she eased up and took her eyes off of her prey for 2 seconds, flashing incredulous eyes at Ariana. She should have known better than to give him even the slightest opening. Like the snake he was, Dakota struck quickly, knocking her knife away and spun her, pinning her to the wall. Jess's body flared with heat for a brief second, before she squashed it like a bug. I found you because we are connected. I've always known where you were. I hope you enjoyed your taste of power because it will be the last I ever give you, sweetheart. His voice was husky and she inhaled sharply, almost groaning at his scent. It had been forever since she had smelled his unique smell of chocolate and oranges. It used to be one of her favorite smells. Hell, it used to be her favorite candy. Now she just wanted to bury him. Get the fuck off me, Dakota, or you will regret it, she hissed. He flashed a devious smile and leaned down to brush his lips against her ear as he spoke softly. I could never regret anything with you, JJ. She sucked in a sharp breath and clenched her thighs together as her pussy throbbed, drenching her panties. She ground her teeth together, silently cursing her traitorous body. I'm going to fucking make him pay for this. He leaned back just far enough to bring his mouth a breath away from hers. Slowly, she smiled. She knew it didn't look like a lover's smile. He could feel the sharp edges of it, feel the deadliness of it. Dakota blinked once, then twice. Roman whispered, "Shite!" Ariana groaned. "Now, Jess, don't do." She didn't wait for her friend to finish. Closing her eyes, she unleashed one hell of a magical punch straight to his groin. He dropped like a bag of rocks and howled like she had castrated him. Though it wasn't above the realm of possibilities, she had done that once when she first learned the trick. Her heart stuttered as the thought of permanently harming his pretty cock flitted through his brain. Jess inwardly groaned, torn between being happy she had hurt him and wanting to take him in her mouth to suck away the pain. Movement out of the corner of her eye distracted her. Jess frowned as Ariana waved her hand and the world shifted, growing blurry one moment, then coming into sharp focus the next. Gone were her apartment walls. Now they were surrounded by towering trees, a cool breeze blowing over their bare skin. Jess's empty stomach heaved and quaked. She put her hand out to steady herself. "Damn it, Ari! Give the girl some warning. You can't just flash us without some warning. I need to prepare, damn it." Ariana snickered. "You didn't give me a choice." Her voice firmed and dripped with authority. "Now shut up and listen." Jess's eyes widened. What the actual fuck? Ari had never spoken to her like, no, scratch that. There was that one time when Ari had found out who Jess really was, but not since then. I know why you hate him so much, but I'm over it and I don't really care at this point. You two need to grow the fuck up and work this shit out. However, since I know you're stubborn as fuck, ass won't stop hunting a Mennonite, and knowing you need help, I'm going to give you an order. Jess's blood ran cold even as her heart raced. Ari, you wouldn't. Don't. Ariana interrupted her. Using her powerful, otherworldly voice, she silenced everything within a 2-mile radius. As queen of the magical community and head of the Council of Magic, I hereby order you to work together to solve our Ammonite and Darcy Bella problem. Jess felt the snap of a new tether being put into place, like the closing door of a jail cell. Fuck, no, Ari, what have you done? Betrayal whipped through Jess, seething anger hot on its heels. Pointing a shaky finger at her former best friend, Jess let Ariana and Roman see her anger and hurt. I can't believe you just did this to me. Sisters wouldn't do this, Ari. You have taken your power too far. I'll be damned if I work with a worthless liar who abandons me, because that is what he is, a liar and a deserter. He's going to get me killed, and it will be your fault. Her voice was cold and lethal. Ariana flinched, taking a step forward and reaching her hands out to Jess, her eyes and face pleading with her. Dakota coughed. His voice was tight with pain. What are you talking about? You abandoned me. Jess gave a despairing laugh, flinging her hand behind her. So she summoned a portal. I'm not the one who left to get breakfast and never came back. Don't fucking follow me, any of you. Ari, take this damn tether off of us, or so help me, I will never forgive you, she seethed. Ariana's eyes gathered with tears. Sorry, y'all, that's taking my voice box a little far. Ariana's eyes gathered with tears, and she shook her head, her hand dropping back to her side. I'm sorry, but I can't. It's what's for the best. Trust me. Jess shook her head, anger and hurt flowing through her veins in equal measure. Turning sharply, she walked into the portal. Her voice was like ice as she tossed the words over her shoulder. Seems like I can't trust anyone anymore. Alrighty, I'm going to stop there. Not quite the end of the chapter, but I think it's all my voice is going to have for now. So, Nina, did you post all the good stuff? I think it's $3.99. Ooh, am I right? It's free on KU. How do you post it so far up here all the time? She posted 2 or 3 times. Why does your Nina's thing have a wrench there? Yeah. I'm just going over some of these answers. All right, TikTok. And that. Let's see. Yep. I might be addicted to TikTok, maybe. But you guys enjoy me sharing it with you, so you don't have to download the app. God, there's a bunch of them on there. They make Facebook look like cartoons. Finish this book. Oh. How many books are going to be in this series? Dang, I'd hate to see what my 2003 Honda Ace is if 2015 is vintage. Nina's got a potty mouth that'll make the rest of us look like angels. And it ain't just the cuss words. Oh. Oh, somebody's been on Kink Talk. Well, it'll take me 5 or 6 days to read it. Lord, no, don't give Lori another part in the book. She's got enough books floating around with her name in it now. Three books total. Okay, 3 books total. Alrighty, I'll have this read probably maybe by next weekend, maybe. I don't know. It depends on how next week goes. I gotta go to Savannah, so. All right, everybody. That's gonna be it for tonight. I need to go rest my voice now so I can ignore Big Daddy and not talk to him. See, I'm addicted to it. You're gonna have to look me up. This is what that's what it looks like on TikTok. So look me up and we'll follow each other. I just had Play-Doh lemonade tonight, y'all. I'm doing good. Just Play-Doh lemonade. All right, you ladies have a wonderful evening and happy reading. 7 o'clock comes early in the morning, and it's Friday tomorrow. Happy Friday. Happy Naked Friday. Oh, yes, Miss Shirley, there is Kink Talk. Just go on TikTok and start following Kink Talk on there. Trust me. Oh, just do hashtag Kink Talk, all one word, and it'll pull stuff up. Thank you, Allie. I appreciate it. You guys have a great evening. Good night.